What does it mean to be yourself when it comes to creating content for the internet, or really just in life in general? That's what we're gonna talk about, and we're starting right now. So this question actually came from Kenny Shellnut. He says, "Hey Nick, the #1 tip I hear on building a YouTube channel is to be yourself. Any tips on being better at being yourself?" This is a great question because when people start YouTube channels, a lot of times they think that they need to act a certain way or present themselves in a certain way when it comes to the content that they're putting out. That idea is usually based on watching content creators that they enjoy and looking at content creators and saying, hey, this is what somebody else is doing, so if I wanna do it, and if I want to be successful, then that's the way that I need to do it. And that's not entirely true. I mean, success does leave clues, so seeing the strategy that they're taking and things like that is important, but when it comes down to the content creator, when it comes to YouTube, that is really important because sure, people are gonna come in and they're gonna watch your content, and they're gonna enjoy your content, but what you really want is people to enjoy the content, but also like getting that specific type of content from you because there's so many people on YouTube making that same type of content. And that's why it's so important to make sure that when you're uploading content to YouTube that you're being the most you-est version of you that you can possibly be. But how do you do that? I have 6 things that I'm gonna share with you that are going to help you be more of yourself on YouTube. The very first item is to not compare yourself to others. And the reason that you don't want to compare yourself to others on YouTube is because other people are going to do things in a different way. Again, like I mentioned before, success absolutely does leave clues, but what you don't want is you don't want to study somebody else and think that you have to present in the same way that they do, or think that you have to create your content in the same way that they do in order for you to be successful. In addition to that, comparing yourself with other people on YouTube can also carry some side effects as well. For example, getting discouraged because you notice that their channel is doing better than your channel at this point in time, and since you're comparing yourself to them constantly, it can be kind of demotivating. When you're comparing yourself to other people, other things can also happen to where you start noticing that they're doing specific things or saying specific things or acting a certain way, and then you can think to yourself like, oh, well, maybe I need to start doing that. And when you start doing that, then you start not being yourself because you're trying to do what they do and you're trying to be them. So don't compare yourself to others. Pay attention to what it is that they're doing, but don't compare yourself to other YouTube channels in terms of, I need to act that way, they're acting that way, I'm acting this way, why are they doing better? Do I need to change what I'm doing in order to mirror them? The next thing on this list is to speak your most authentic truth regardless of any judgment that might take place. Here's what I mean. Sometimes as humans, we do things because we think people will like us better if we do those specific things. Other times we do things because we think it's what we should do because it's the right thing to do. And other times we will hide specific things because we're like, hey, I don't want people to know that because if they know that, then maybe they won't like me. The awesome thing about YouTube, to me, one of the most fascinating things about YouTube is that authentic truth that people often try to hide when they're getting started. I did the same exact thing myself, but that authentic truth that a lot of people try to hide, that can often be some of the stuff that people actually come to you for, the thing that people really enjoy, or the things that people really enjoy about your personality and about how you express yourself through your content. For example, your opinions are a great way to demonstrate your truth. And what I mean by that is when you're not afraid to share your opinions about things in your videos, and it doesn't have to be about everything that you think about everything, but when you share your opinions, what you're doing is you're drawing a line in the sand. And when you draw that line in the sand, what you're doing is you're actually creating a stronger connection with the people that think like you, which is a really important part of growing a YouTube channel. If, of course, you're trying to grow it around your personality. But speaking your truth really comes down to just being honest with your opinions on things. It comes down to not bending when it comes to certain things. For example, let's say that you're doing a review video and you're reviewing something where you would normally be like, oh my God, this sucks. Instead, you try to gloss it over and make it sound a little bit better because you don't want to say something that is, that negatively reflects on the thing that you're talking about. Well, what you're doing right there is you're taking away from being yourself versus communicating that idea how you would normally communicate that idea, which is this thing sucks, or this feature, or this method, or whatever the thing is, just saying, hey, this sucks, and not trying to candy coat it or whatever. If that's how you normally do things, then that's being yourself. However, if you normally candy coat things and all that, then by candy coating and all that, then you are kind of being yourself. but you can really start opening yourself up by just not being afraid of your own opinions or not being self-judgmental about your own opinions as they relate to the feedback that you might get from your comment section. The next thing is to try really hard to not care about what people think about you. Now look, I know that, just as human beings, of course, we care about what people think, but when you are just focused on, hey, I'm just gonna provide value through my content, and some people are not gonna like that, some people are going to like it, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking to connect with the people that love what it is that I do, and for the people that don't, whatever, they'll find somebody that they connect with, but for the people that I'm trying to connect with, I'm trying to resonate with them, and I don't care what everybody else thinks. And look, this comes down to how you look, how you speak, how you do all of the things that you do as a human being. The really important thing to make sure that you're thinking about is, this is how you operate. This is how you get friends. This is how, people like you in the real world. And by being yourself, being, the true version of you, that's how you get people to like you on YouTube as well. It's the same, it's just digital and no real physical contact. For high fives and fist bumps and all that good stuff. Now, this next one's really important, and it can cause you to quit your YouTube channel if you're not being mindful of this. It can cause you to just not pursue anything that you actually want to pursue in your life if you get caught up in this. And the thing is, don't neg out on yourself. Don't be negative towards yourself. Be constructive, but don't be negative and don't have negative self-talk. For example, when you're making videos and you have to remake things several times, let's say you're on camera like I am right now, and you have to retake the same thing a handful of times. And after a while, you might start to think to yourself like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's taking me this many times. I must be so stupid. Or I can't believe I can't get this out right, or whatever. Or if you're on voiceovers to where you have to do the same take over and over and over again in order to get it right, the same exact thing could be to where you just give yourself a hard time about it. Like, oh gosh, why can't I get this out right? Same thing if you're playing a game, right? Let's say you're playing a game and you have a live stream going, you got some people in there, the game just gets started, and right out of the gate, you do something and you end up dying quickly. Well, in that situation, you might beat yourself up about it and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened when I had all these people watching my live stream. Oh my gosh, I gotta, Be constructive, not self-destructive. And what I mean by that is when you're being self-destructive, you're using language like, I suck, I can't do this, I can't believe I made that mistake, I can't believe I did this is gonna take me forever, things like that. When you're being constructive, your self-talk looks more like, I've had to record a bunch of these clips, but it's okay because I'm just trying to find the best one. People didn't respond to my last video? Man, I wish they would have. However, that simply means that I have more to learn, I have more videos to make, and I'm just getting better at this, so I'm embracing the learning curve. So what can I learn from this video that didn't perform well? But that difference in how you're talking to yourself can make a really big difference on how you're moving forward and how you are being yourself. Because when you start having all of that negative self-talk, then what you're doing is you're limiting yourself and you're hiding behind all of these insecurities that come with negative self-talk. However, when you are being constructive, then in that case, what you're doing is you are encouraging yourself, and you're encouraging yourself to be the best version of yourself that you can be, or just the version of yourself that you are, that you're giving to the people that are watching your videos. The next thing on this list that's gonna help you be yourself is to have a good time. So when you're making content, try to have a good time making the content, because you know how it is when you're having a good time and you're out with friends, and what happens is, you're relaxed and you're loose and you're just having a good time, and in that process is when friendships are developed, because you're being yourself at that point in time, and people get to know each other through that. And on the other hand, if you're making videos and you're being all stiff and you are trying to project this image of yourself that you're not really, then one, you're just gonna get exhausted from, trying to play that person that you're not. But two, in addition to that, making videos is gonna be a chore, and you don't want this to be a chore. Like if you're making content for YouTube, then I'm guessing that you're doing this because it's something that you enjoy. You're making content about something that you're passionate about. And when you make it a chore, then that takes the joy out of everything, because then it's something that you have to do versus something that you want to do. The next thing on this list as a bonus is possibly the most important. That's why I saved it here to the end for those of you that are watching this to the end. But the most important one here is also relaxing before you do your videos, or having some type of routine that you go through before you make your content to get yourself in the mental zone to do what it is that you're doing, and to also just be yourself and express who you truly are. For me, before I make videos, my routine is is that I will shower. Sometimes I'll listen to some good music, so I can get myself just kind of moving around a little bit, jamming out to the stuff that I enjoy. But I'll listen to some music, and then of course I'll come in and I'll get everything set up. But after everything's set up, then I'll also just kind of sit here for a moment. I'll chill. I'll take some deep breaths in order to just, get myself kind of in the moment so that I can make sure that I'm here communicating with you instead of making the video here, but my mind being elsewhere thinking about other things. For me, that's really helpful because by the time I actually hit record, I'm in a good mood. I'm like loosened up a little bit, and I've kind of went through that routine, which has gotten me ready to just kind of express myself in whatever way that I express myself while I'm talking to you through these videos. To learn more about the mental side of being a YouTube content creator, click into this playlist right here where I just discuss different topics based around your mind and, things like we talked about in this video. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.